This is the third in what I kind of intend to be a three-part series. Maybe I'll continue it. In the first part, I talked about what it was like to hit the ground in a catastrophe when I deployed as a catastrophe insurance adjuster. In the second part, I expanded on that experience, talking about how I stayed longer in the catastrophe than other folks, and began to touch on how I built a deployment into a career in the catastrophe insurance adjusting business. I wanted to just give some more reflections about doing that, because I know there's a lot of folks that are wanting to help out with the 2024 disasters. It's pretty serious this year, and there's a lot of help needed. And I want to do what I can to help everyone succeed as much as possible, and to build this into a career that will be a blessing for themselves, all the people that they help, the companies that they're working for, and their own families. And in the last video, I talked about how I had developed the attitude of yes. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I can learn this. Yes, I can do things that I didn't think I could do before. Work longer than I thought I could work. Learn things that I thought I couldn't learn. And it was a very successful attitude. And I just wanted to expand on that a little bit. I realize now, all these years later, that I had a strong intuition about the winning attitude for this career, because now I have spent years as not just an employee, but an employer. And even though when I was a catastrophe adjuster back in those days, I wasn't technically speaking an employee, because it tended to be that independent insurance adjusters deployed to catastrophes were working as independent contractors. It's changed a bit now. I think a lot of companies, for liability purposes, deploy their independents as employees, but that's something that you'll discover depending on who you deploy with. Anyway, as an employee, I realize now how valuable it is to have employees that take care of things without a lot of maintenance. And especially in a catastrophe situation, it's hard to emphasize how chaotic and there's a lot of moving parts going on. And I saw that my storm managers were overwhelmed, because it's an overwhelming situation. There's a tremendous amount of pressure from the state and from the insurance companies for these independent adjusting companies, to whom they outsource thousands and thousands of claims and their reputation. There's a tremendous amount of pressure for them to get these claims closed quickly and efficiently and thoroughly. So I realized, as I got into this business, having, now working as an independent contractor, I really was like a small business owner in a way, as an independent contractor. And my business was making the right people happy by delivering value. And the value that I needed to deliver to my storm manager was basically this. I needed to produce a large volume of closed claims in the way that they wanted them done, and without a lot of hassle. Actually, ideally without any hassle. So what that means is they assign me claims. And then without any trouble, those claims come back in and they are approved, sent on through to the insurance carrier, and then the independent adjusting company gets paid for those claims, and then I get paid. So I started paying really close attention to what my storm manager wanted. When I got feedback in the form of a kickback claim, and what that means is you submit a claim, right? You've inspected the property, you've done everything, you've compiled this report, you send it in, and it's kicked back for revisions. When I would get these kickback claims, I paid very close attention to the revisions that they wanted, because what I was trying to do is I was trying to dial in how I wrote these claims so that they wouldn't get kicked back. I didn't want them kicked back because that diminished the number of claims I was doing, and that therefore diminished the amount of money I was making. They didn't want to kick them back. They just wanted to push them through and get on with this overwhelming, fire hose of claims and problems. So I started continuously asking myself, what can I do to get more claims closed the way they want them and without them getting reopened? Because that's another kind of secret of this business, is a lot of adjusters think that if they can just get these claims closed and get paid and then get out of the storm, everything's going to be great. But that's not the end of the story. Some adjusters close a bunch of claims, but they do it in a sloppy way. And when they're gone from the storm, they've left behind a rat's nest of problems. All their claims are contested and reopened, and they go to appraisal or mediation. There's re-inspections. That's a problem, right? So I had this idea. I remember seeing this movie years ago. I think it was called Ghost Dog or something, and it was about this ninja assassin. And I thought, you know what I want to be? I don't want to be really on anybody's radar. I just want to be this ninja adjuster that can be called in, and I get a bunch of claims closed without any hassle. Nobody knows what I look like. Nobody cares. I just want to go into the storm, make a bunch of money for me and for my employer, and get out of there. So that's what I'm thinking about. When I'm meeting with the policyholder, right, what does this person need? In addition to just, I have this, what's called a fiduciary duty to the insurance company to look after their interests. Now, that means that I need to be fulfilling the contract. And what's the contract? That's the policy. The insurance policy is a contract, and as such falls under the contract laws of the state. And I need to fulfill that, and I need to do it in a way that is in alignment with the law and how the insurance carrier wants these claims closed, all within the bounds of, I'll call it, morality, right? In other words, if I find myself in a situation where I'm working for an insurance carrier that's trying to get me to, say, deny claims when they ought not be denied, I obviously can't do that. I'd need to find a different company to work for. But so I want to take that claim and work it according to the contract, but it's more nuanced than that, right? Not only do I have to satisfy the insurance company, I have to deal with real human beings in the field, real human beings who've had real losses. And if I am pissing off or mismanaging expectations with the policyholder, that's another thing that's going to cause me trouble. It's going to cause me trouble. It's going to cause the insurance carrier trouble. It's going to cause the independent adjusting company trouble, And that means I'm going to be back on someone's radar and making less money. So I've got to be mindful about how I deal with the policyholder. I got to be upfront. I've got to give the brutal facts, but I have to deliver it in a way that is understandable and with compassion and empathy. And I need to figure out how to maximize the claim within the legal bounds of the policy. I learned this early on. I assumed that when I came into the claims business that the independent adjusting company would be wanting me to pay as little as possible. But I was very quickly, after my first deployment, all of the adjusters working for this independent adjusting company were called into the office, and one of the managers got up on a chair. There must have been 100 of us, and he stood up there and he said, "Listen, new adjusters, you're writing these estimates way too low. You need to put more money in these estimates." And everybody's shocked. And he said, "Look, these homes have been seriously damaged. They're high-end homes in this area. And if you're not paying enough to get the repairs done, they're going to reopen. And nobody wants that. So estimate them correctly," right? Anyway, that was really helpful for me. I realized, okay, I'm trying to indemnify. I'm trying to make this person, this policyholder, whole within the confines of the contract, right? And and also I'm on a fee schedule, so the more money I'm paying out on the claim, the more money I make. So there's this whole balance of expectations for the insurance company, fulfillment of the law, the policy, the satisfaction of the insurance company, the independent adjusting company, the policyholder. That's all a big mix. And that's part of being a successful insurance adjuster. And that's part of why I ended up being very successful. And I got to stay on in deployments longer than other folks because my employers learned that they could send a claim to me. Like, say, for instance, someone's having a problem with the policyholder. They signed a claim to another adjuster and it's a big conflict. They could call me and say, "Adam, look, we got a problem here. Do you want to take this claim?" And they knew that I could take that claim and I could get that thing closed in a way that it would stay closed and everybody would calm down, right? They don't want problems like that. So that was a very successful formula, is figuring out who's my boss, what are the expectations, how do I meet these expectations, how do I get claims closed like they want them closed in a way that makes everyone happy. And that formula worked really well for me as I transitioned out of the catastrophe claims and into the area of conflict resolution, working for a pretty significant amount of time in South Florida, doing appraisals. In the adjusting business, what that is a process in dispute resolution. It's one of the steps in dispute resolution before, say, you'd go to court, everybody armed up with lawyers. And I would represent the insurance carrier through an independent adjusting company. There would be a lawyer or a public adjuster on the other side of the equation representing the policyholder, and we would work to find a solution to an impasse with regards to a settlement. So I wanted to talk about getting into daily claims because I had done such a thorough job of making sure my name was on lots of rosters. I was getting calls from different companies who had needs of an independent adjuster in the South Florida area where I lived at the time. And again, with that attitude of yes, I would get claims and scenarios that I hadn't worked before, but the attitude was yes, with transparency, right? So I started getting some liability claims. And, you know, I'd get a call, something like this. I'm handling some daily claims now. And daily claims are claims that happen all day long outside of a catastrophe situation. Like in South Florida, there were a lot of, you know, small kitchen fires or leaking water heater, something like that. And there was a claim. So in addition to daily claims, I started getting some liability claims. I'd get a call, Adam, we have a sexual assault claim, right? Are you willing to take this on? So this is the way it would go. Yes. I haven't done one of these claims before, but I will do this for you. And the reason why I had established this ability to say yes and have the independent adjusting companies assign me these claims is because they had experience with being able to assign stuff to me that I hadn't done before. And they knew that I would learn what I needed to learn and get it done. Of course, also hypothetically, they knew that I would tell them if it was over my head. And there certainly were scenarios where I would not have taken a claim. Anyway, so what happened is that I started getting multiple inflows of business. I started getting claims from a lot of different companies. And I realized that what I had in my hand was the starting of an independent adjusting company. And so that's exactly what I did. I started a small independent adjusting company. And I actually was able to secure a contract with a small South Florida insurance carrier where I was doing claims directly for them, which was a really neat thing. So I guess what I want to do is I want to continue this series because I need to wrap this up, and there's still more I want to say. But thanks if you've watched this thing all the way through. And I really want to do what I can to help folks that are getting into this business to understand how to make this a successful and long career. Because it's just been such a blessing for me and my family. I've been in it for some 20 years, and I hope you find the same thing. So thanks for watching. Stop by adjusterpro.com if you have any questions, and let us know how we can help you in your career.